Om Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasha Namami. Namaste everyone and welcome to our study of the Bhagavad Gita. We are going through the revisions of chapter 13, Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, and we have gone through a section that deals with what Sri Krishna calls as jnana, knowledge. Knowledge, not in the sense that by knowing that one becomes enlightened, but it's more to do with the sadhana. And we have spent quite a bit of time trying to understand why he has given that so much importance to that, because that is what we are going to do to purify our mind, chitta shuddhi. We discussed in good detail about how the chitta vrittis, the modifications of the mind, the whirlpools in the mind that are created when our attention is given to something externally through the senses or internally to our inner self, it makes a change in the mind, and we represented that as a whirlpool, and that leaves impressions behind. These are called samskaras, and that's how our minds are conditioned. And those conditionings continue with us even when the physical body dies, and we are born with that in the next life, and so on. These conditionings, they're called upadhis or superimpositions. They hide or cover the infinite glory of the Atman, the Purusha, the Kshetrajna. And so long the mind is filled with all these vrittis, like a lake that has got so many waves on the surface, we cannot clearly see what is deep down, deep inside us. So these disciplines of jnana, we discussed in detail, are designed to lessen to increase the spiritual samskaras by connecting the mind inwards to our higher self or some representation of that higher self, which is our chosen ideal. And it is also designed to lessen the outward movement, the pravritti, the outgoing tendency of our mind or attention through the senses to external objects. This is the reverse engineering, so to say. And it takes a lot of time because this mind has been conditioned for many ages. We have inherited those samskaras when we are born in this world. And in this life also, we have created so many samskaras, knowingly or unknowingly. They're all in the mind. So in sadhana, during spiritual practice, we bring about what is called the purification of the mind. Chitta shuddhi. Shuddhi means purification. And purification here, the process means really involves merging the grossa into the subtler. Ice melts into water, water melts into water vapor in that way. So as the mind goes higher and higher, it disconnects with the lower levels of existence. So at some point you lose consciousness of your body. At some point you disconnect with your senses. That even happens when you go to sleep. Eyes are there, ears are there, but somehow the mind gets disconnected. And so we don't perceive anything. No change is made in our mind space, in our chitta, and therefore they do not exist in our experience. They exist for others, but not for us personally. So when we are doing the spiritual sadhana, have this clarity that our main focus area of work is in this chitta, in the mind space. The Atman is always there. We don't have to bring into it. It is called Nitya Siddha, means ever attained. Only it is covered, and the whole effort is directed to the purification of the mind. One has to be very, very vigilant that we do not add the worldly samskaras too much beyond what is necessary for food, clothing, shelter, minimize that, and work on the spiritual samskaras so that the mind begins to raise up. We also discussed a little bit Because when you think about the number of samskaras or the quantity of samskaras accumulated from previous lifetimes in this, then one can get really overwhelmed and sort of despair. Oh my God, how is it possible to get rid of all this conditioning? But we understood in our last week's discussion that the intensity and the quality of spirituals, the samskaras or vrittis that are generated through spiritual connection, through japa and meditation, are far superior to the worldly samskaras. Just like, and we gave an example that, okay, just like in a phone system, you got 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and all these, they represent different frequency bandwidths. But we know that the amount of energy or information that's contained in the higher bands is so much superior to the lower ones. Like you can download a gigabyte of data in 5G so fast, but imagine doing that under 2G. So as the mind rises to the higher planes, or as it is connected to the higher spiritual energy that is within us, the force and the power of those spiritual samskaras are far superior. And that's how Sri Ramakrishna says, you take one step towards the divine takes 10 steps towards you. That means the impact of that inner spiritual energy is so overwhelming that if you sincerely practice that spiritual discipline, sooner or later we will be able to purify the mind of all the conditioning, not of this lifetime only, but of previous lifetimes also. So there is hope. And one should not despair. One has to simply put their heads down and tails up, as they say, focus on doing the sadhana part of it. Don't worry about what's the quality of concentration today so much. After 1 or 2 years of practice, then you should start worrying about it if that is not happening. But after a few days of meditation, don't come around and say, oh, my mind is so restless. Of course, it will be restless. You've just started on the journey. So have a lot of patience, have a lot of faith in the spiritual sadhana and the teachings, and perseverance. That is the secret of success. So that is to be understood. That's what we discussed last time. Today, we are going to sort of go from the verses 12 onwards, because from here, Sri Krishna talks about what is to be known. So we've got three things: the knower, known, and knowledge. So the highest truth to be known is our own higher self, the Brahman or the Atman. And in these verses from 12 to I think 17, Sri Krishna talks about that aspect of the divine, so that we know what we are aiming for. And it is something so sublime, so superior, so good, because when our mind sort of becomes attracted to the most wonderful thing, and if we can teach ourselves that within us is at the Atman or spiritual level, the dimension of our being is far superior to my present state of awareness. That means this individuality, this body-mind complex, or whatever is there in the external world. These are very low forms of manifestation. And therefore, why should I get myself identified with that and suffer under the tyranny or the changes that happen to the body or to things that change outside? I would rather be established or anchored in my higher self, which is absolutely pure, full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of beauty, purity, and goodness. The more we dwell on these qualities of the divine, either it is personified in the form of some divine personality, like Sri Krishna. If it's a devotee, he thinks all the time about the divine qualities of Sri Krishna, or Shiva, or Kali, or Durga. It's easier to, because we are personal beings, have a personality, and we see things through the prism of our mind. So it's easier to grasp the divine in the form of a personality. Very few are there who can really have that willpower and mental strength and purity to focus on the impersonal, the nameless and formless. And you will see in chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga, Sri Krishna was asked this question by Arjuna. And he says, which is a superior devotee? The one who contemplates on the transcendental, nameless, formless being, or the one who contemplates on a divine personality? And that question is always sort of addressed by spiritual teachers, and they say, start with the personality. Later on, as the mind matures and develops the strength, you will achieve the also the experience of the impersonal one, if that is the wish and the grace of the divine. But it's easier, and Sri Krishna answers that question in the same way. Here, in these verses, it's more about the impersonal, the Brahman that is being described here. But it's good to know, because the personality is like one person, one individual, so one form of God. There's so many other forms of God. I'm going to pour my attention, my love and affection, my devotion to one personality. That's fine. So let me just put the platform for today's discussion so that we know what we are trying to attend to. In Vedanta, the macrocosm and the microcosm are described in a tabular form. The multiple layers. The supreme being at the highest level, let us say, is Brahman. And then there are two orders of descent, and one is the macrocosm, one is the microcosm. All right. So at the highest level, let us say absolute, nameless, formless Brahman. That is pure consciousness. And then we have these two orders. Let us say this on the left-hand side is the microcosm. That means the individuality. And the macrocosm is the universe, external universe. There are three levels: gross, subtle, causal. Example, ice, water, water vapor, made of the same substance, but the gross is tangible. You can hold and feel, and with the help of our senses. This is the world that we are awake to. The subtle is the world of ideas, thoughts. Causal is the even finer than that of intelligence, and beyond that, they all are in that pure consciousness. And in Vedanta, the terms are given there. So the being that is identified, let us say start with the macrocosm, who's identified with the universal intelligence, who says, when he says I am, he means all beings throughout the universe, or the intelligence of all the beings throughout the universe. So in Vedanta, that personality is called Ishvara. Ishvara is the supreme controller of the whole universe and all beings. When that manifests at a slightly lower level in the form of mind, but not an individual mind, a cosmic mind with ideas and thoughts, that being is called Hiranyagarbha. Garbha means egg, Hiranya means golden, the golden egg, or it's also called the cosmic mind. In a personified form, that's a Brahma, Mahat. And when it has come down and manifested in the process of Srishti, creation, as the universe that we see, right from an atom to the furthest most galaxy, everything that is in the physical level, that is called Virat. So the Virat is the body of the cosmic being. The Hiranyagarbha is the mind of the cosmic being. The Ishvara is that I sense of the cosmic being. That is at the macrocosmic level. In the individual level within us, that's the gross is called Vishwa. Vishwa. The subtle is called Tejasa. Tejasa means full of light of Tejas. And the causal is called Prajna. These are technical terms, so that when we use those terms, we refer to those dimensions of our being. In the first part of our discussions, the verses up to 11, we were talking about this, how the individual will orient the energies within the person, the personality, and try to direct them upwards. In the downward flow, he tries to, that one is to be lessened, minimized, so to say. And jnana was that whatever the disciplines that were being discussed were to do with this. In this remaining or the next set of verses from 12 onwards, I think 12 to 17, Sri Krishna will talk about the macrocosm part of it. How we are not just the only wave in the ocean. There's so many waves out of the same ocean. We are interacting with them all the time. They work on us, we work on them. They influence us, we influence them. And while we are doing that interaction, we can have a very superficial view of this world, like physical beings, individuals, gender-wise, race-wise, color-wise, or something like that. Or we can choose to have a bit more enlightened understanding of people and things outside us, around us. And Vedanta tries to give us that spiritual perspective. Because when we act on the world or we react to the world, that action and reaction is based on our perspective. And if our perspective is a spiritual perspective, then you'll find that we are not so easily, we don't react so much. In the sense, for example, somebody who doesn't know any Vedanta, any spirituality, when he looks at the world, he sees a world of people of different sort of characterized by their features, physical, gender, color, nationality, all that, or about how they are trained, their profession, by their opinions and views and this and that. And that would, we can interact with people in that way, or we can bring to our mind the idea that we are all waves in the same ocean. Let's not make too much big deal about the characteristics of the waves. Some will be big, some will be small, but behind them or within them is the same water. The H2O that is within me is present in others. Or we can go a little higher and say, they are all parts of the same ocean. Let's put our attention and focus on that ocean and less on the wave. And accordingly, our action and interaction and reaction to everything will change. So Vedanta tries to give us this enlightened Vedanta glasses, you can say, and see the world through that. Deify the world. That is what Vedanta says. Deification. What appears to be a material thing on externally is really a divine principle within. The deity. That's why I call deity, deification, seeing the divine in that person. And Swami Vivekananda says, what does Vedanta teach us? To know the world so that it may not hurt us. Why should we study Vedanta? To know the world, not superficially, not as shown to us as by the senses or by our conditioning of the mind, but to see the world as it was revealed to these Vedic rishis, men of enlightenment, and try to put those glasses, purify our mind and see the world in that way. And that is to be practiced all the time. It's not, in our meditation, we do the subjective discipline, visualize the divine in our own heart, convince ourselves or build the samskaras that we are not only the body or the mind, but we're a spiritual being in there. Then we open our eyes and go and interact with the world, whether whoever comes to your clients, your children, husband, wife, neighbors, and try to remind ourselves that the divine that is in me is present there in others. The only difference is there's a difference in manifestation of power, of that Shakti, Shakti, Vishesha. All of them don't, fundamentally they have the same consciousness, but the manifestation of their power differs in different beings depending on the purity of the mind, all that. So this is the framework. Brahman is the highest reality, nameless, formless, absolute, and the being who is the universal being is the Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic mind in which all minds are part. We are all minds are little whirlpools in the river of the cosmic mind. And Virat is the cosmic whole universe, material universe. Here, Vishwa is our physical body, the Tejasa is a mental body, and Prajna is the subtle or causal body. And these are the two subjective, what you call subjective and objective, aham and idam. So aham means that which I
Swamiji,
identify as ourselves. Yes.
I think you mentioned, unless I heard it wrong, consciousness is equal throughout. It's only the difference is the power of Shakti.
Yes.
Okay, then if we consciousness does not have a level, it's only one level, equal throughout.
Consciousness. So you refer to that example of that experience of Manmatha Ganguly, all right? When his mind went there, he saw that everything merged into that ocean of consciousness on all directions. All right. But when he, in that ocean of consciousness, he sees himself as a bubble, a wave, and Swami Vivekananda is just another wave also. Not much difference between the two. But when his mind comes down back to the gross level, then he says, my God, we are not the same substance, So the manifestation of consciousness is different, but the substance is same. For example, two things are made out of, you go to a jeweler's shop, okay, and find everything is made out of gold. But you can have a small quantity of gold or you can have a big part of gold. The substance is same, but the form that it takes and the power it manifests is more or less. So in a great realized soul like an incarnation or Krishna or Buddha or some enlightened being, there it shines in a much greater splendor. But it's also the same consciousness is present in a stone, but its manifestation is not so much. Refer to the experience when Sri Ramakrishna had the first vision of the Divine Mother, and he saw suddenly everything has become consciousness. The image of the Divine Mother, the marble floor, the walls of the building, the utensils that were there. He turned around and saw a cat. The cat is also consciousness. Everything is filled with that consciousness. But when his mind comes down, then he sees X, Y, and Z, and he deals with them in that way. So that consciousness he didn't experience by leaving this body and going somewhere up in the sky. It is here, but in a different frequency plane. That's why the idea of, I use this Shakti in terms of frequencies, just like this TV channel. So many channels are there. Okay, which frequency are you tuned to? So being tuned to this physical world means we are tuned to a lower frequency. And there the senses are functioning. We see, we hear, we touch. Spiritual sadhana means developing the capacity to lift this mind to that higher frequency. And as you tune this mind, just like you tune the radio or the TV to a high frequency, then the lower channel drops off and the next channel tunes in and you experience whatever is available in that channel. So when the mind goes to the cosmic mind level, then you find everything is made out of ideas. Thoughts, every people, what were really shown as objects and people were really ideas. And then when you go beyond that, that idea thing also disappears, mind becomes free of every thoughts, and that there is that ocean of consciousness, and that is here and now. The most important, powerful thing that you should keep in mind, that consciousness is here and now, is just that we are not tuned to that. And imagine if we could have access to that. And when the scriptures keep on talking about that's behind the physical body, behind the mental body, behind this physical world, behind the cosmic mind, is something far superior. Interpenetrating all of them, and it is activating all of those things. These physical and the mental rise out of it, like water comes out of water vapor and then becomes ice, and they will merge back into the source. But the source of consciousness is there here and now. And the more we dwell on that, at some point the mind says, oh, this physical human experience is a very inferior quality standard of manifestation. I can do better, and I'm infinite. I'm Akhanda Satchidananda in my spiritual dimension. And that gives the impetus and the desire to do spiritual practice. So
Brahman is equal to consciousness, right, Swamiji? Brahman is equal to the
Brahman
English
is,
terminology of
So Brahman, in which all so Brahman is pure consciousness. That's why we call it pure consciousness. Okay. And then these, on that pure consciousness, that's the movie screen, all right? The white screen, the white light, that names and forms appear, nama and rupa. And as that go, the names and forms become grosser and grosser until you see a stone in front of you, or you feel yourself as a body. So these names and forms are really the Maya. That's why another word for Nama Rupa Maya is called. That means that which hides and covers the pure consciousness.
So Swamiji, like, so at the gross level, you just said that the consciousness comes gets lesser and lesser. So at the moment we are
listen, let's put the terminology right. Consciousness and consciousness, or the manifestation of consciousness, are two things, all right? So the manifestation of consciousness becomes lesser and less and lesser.
Like in a stone, the consciousness is less and is minimal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Minimal.
But it is there. Otherwise,
so the grosser it is, the lesser it is.
Yeah, the grosser thing hides it more.
But aren't we at this level in the gross body?
Of course.
Of course, that's why you're feeling yourself the gross body.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Maybe you're another body.
Swamiji. I mean, like you are saying, stone. Okay, they're at gross level, and all these things. Like we are human at the moment. Okay, at gross level. But we put a higher consciousness than them.
Yeah, so sometimes people are there who are just so sense bound that just like the whole life is eating, drinking, procreating, and all that. It's almost like an animal existence. But there are other people who dwell mostly at the mind level. They're thinkers, philosophers, scientists, and all those things. They're very much not so much identified with the body. Whatever is there, it's all right. But the mind is so much focused at the mental level. So where your mind is tuned to, that's where you are, sort of. All right. Use the TV experience, the example. What channel are you tuned to?
Swamiji, so when we die, the consciousness...
Now, hello. You have to now start using very accurate language. So what is dying? You dying or the body dies?
The body dies.
So you say when the body dies, decomposes, yes?
Yes, the consciousness leaves the body and the body stays...
Hold on. Is the consciousness leaving the body?
No, the body drops.
The body drops.
So that is my question.
In Hindi, we say sharir tyag diya hai.
So what remains in the body then? If consciousness, if it is one consciousness pervading the entire universe, and the jiva and the mind and the buddhi and the atma, that stays and the body drops, then what remains in the body? When we say one consciousness, then the consciousness is also still there in the body, but is manifested at a lower level.
Are Baba?
No.
You see, the most of our language that about somebody being born, somebody dying is sort of anchored from we are looking from the physical body, from here. Okay. And so we think we are born. Actually, the body is born. All right.
Body comes into existence.
Body manifests. Eyes, water formed into eyes. Somebody is born. All right. Water melts. It goes. The ice melts into water. Body disappears. Okay. Using
What
that
I'm trying to
analogy.
say, what I'm
So
trying
what
to
are we
say,
doing?
Swamiji, is that like we said about stone, similarly, the body, which does not have any life in it, the body has withered away, right? That still has some consciousness, isn't it? Which is not manifesting. That is what I'm
No.
trying to come.
No. It goes back
See,
to dust.
the ultimate existence is consciousness. All right. That
Yes.
existence, whether it will be a cell or a body or planet or something, nothing can exist without the consciousness. But does that consciousness manifest through that or not is the thing.
I think the confusion arises because we look at the body as the starting point.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Go top down, start from the top.
Yeah, the opposite.
No, that is what I'm saying, that if we start from top down, so the light shines through the buddhi, through the mind, through the gross body. The light is switched off. The light takes away the mind, buddhi, and the atma. What remains?
No, the light doesn't take away that.
No, the light goes away, right? The light, what I'm trying to understand,
Hello.
is that.
Hello. You see this white screen here, all right? Imagine this is the light of consciousness. No names, no forms. Okay? Just light. Up, below, left, right, center, everywhere. It's light and light. Jyotir, Jyoti. Antar Jyotir, Bahir Jyoti, Jyotir, Jyotir, Parat Para. There's one Jyoti is here in her class also. She'll tell you more about it. Jyoti. So Jyoti, everywhere is a consciousness. Then what happens? Then imagine in that space of consciousness, it's called Chid Akasha. Akasha means space. Chid Akasha, in that space of consciousness, by the divine will, a form appears, a ripple appears, a bubble appears. Now imagine that the first bubble that appears, and you can use this one in your meditation, this technique. Actually, I was going to teach you later, but now it's here, so let's talk about it. So like a soap bubble. Okay, so a film, very thin. When you examine it, what do you see? There's air outside, there's air inside, but a thin boundary has appeared. Imagine that to be the causal body. Okay, the first boundary that appears. What happened? The frequency dropped a little bit, and that's how this form appeared. Okay. Then what is that that filled with? It is filled with that blue light. Okay, so imagine that is all filled with the intelligence. All right. Then the next level of grossification happens. And let us say another bubble happens inside. And that is the mind space. Right? And then another level happens. And that's the body space. So the mind pervades the body, and the buddhi pervades the mind and body both. And the pure consciousness pervades all of them. And this is how the embodiment takes place. Out of that ocean of consciousness, okay, this is it happen. And so when the reverse process of going into samadhi, your experience would be, it will be something like this. It's going back, gone. Okay. And when it starts, first, okay, then happens, and this. So when we say, when somebody dies, this is what happens. All right. Body has disappeared. The mind is there, the buddhi, intelligence, consciousness there, everything is there. The white screen is there all the time.
But the body still exists, right?
No, hang on. I think I know what's going on here. So the body is to do with 5 elements.
Hello.
So those 5.
Here, this is an analogy. Your tuning with the body has gone also.
So to me, the body has gone.
Yes.
Yes.
But to the common consciousness, the body still exists. So when I am in sleep, I don't know that I am in sleep. My mother or my wife or some friend will say that I am in sleep, right? To him or her, I exist. But to me, I don't exist.
Yeah. To you exist, but you're not aware of your body.
Yes.
So use the word now, your awareness of what you are. The expression. When you say I am something, that means I'm aware of myself as. Okay.
Okay, there's a confusion here now. Because if you are sleeping, then you're not aware of your body. But if you're dead, then what?
Isn't it the same thing to
No, it can't be the same thing. It can't be
to a certain level, So if I sleep and I don't wake up tomorrow, then I am just in perennial non-awareness of my body.
No. Because if that doesn't work. Because if you're sleeping and therefore you're not aware of your body, but that doesn't mean the body doesn't exist. It exists. But when you're dead,
that is exactly what happens in dead. When I'm dead, the body still exists and I'm not there.
No, let me finish, because there are 2 different things. So when you asleep, when you're sleeping, the body exists, but you're not aware of the body, of the existence of the body. But when you are dead, the body, the awareness of the body or not awareness of the body, I don't know because I haven't died yet. But I'm thinking that it would be that the difference is the actual physical body exists when you're asleep, but you're not aware of it. But when you're dead, the physical body decomposes, goes back to the 5 elements. It doesn't exist.
That's fine. What I'm trying to say is it still exists till a certain time until I'm cremated or until the body is cremated or burnt or
But you disconnect it.
Okay, you see, there's a question that you can discuss and you can find out when you die also as a personal experience. What happens is, analyze your own self when you're going into sleep and coming out of it. Okay, there's an experience you're having all the time. So when you go into deep sleep, your body is there, it's still breathing. That means some part of vital force is still sustaining it. But you're not aware of it, your heartbeat or breath or whatever is happening around you. But death is when that prana totally disconnects from the physical body, doesn't sustain it anymore, doesn't give it energy. And that's when it's totally disconnected from you. You lost it. It begins to decompose, rot away immediately. So what happened? This consciousness that was going all the way down, when you are awake, then it is also operating at that level. At this level, that means it's radiating out. You're seeing, hearing, touching, and all those things. When in the dream sleep, then this too have stopped. You can't see, you can't hear, and all those type of things. Okay. Oh, where's my drawing? Yeah, but working in his dream world. So what we are trying to do here today, because this is another topic about life and death and what happens when you are born and what happens after death, where we are, in what form, where do our thoughts, ideas, or desires, or samskaras, where do they dwell, and how do you take another body in different place? That's a whole science of it, explanation of it. Here, what I'm trying to get is, there is a pure consciousness behind this whole universe, and all this, how do I duplicate this? Okay, each one is a bubble in that ocean of consciousness. All right, each one is a bubble in that ocean of consciousness, and how we are going to interact with others. We can interact by keeping them in the mind. Okay, this example. Some have greater manifestation, some lesser manifestation. So normal interaction is basically at a very physical level. People are identified with the physical body mostly, not always, mostly, and they see others as physical beings also. What we are trying to do is here that is to bring in this highest consciousness. I was thinking maybe I put one highlighter. Yeah, so let us use that yellow as the highest consciousness, which is around. And what Sri Krishna in these verses will try to say is talk about this foundation out of which everything has come. All of us have come. That is Brahman. And talk about and try to direct our attention to create that awareness about how we look upon ourselves and how we look upon others. We'll take all that questions about this death and what happens, Samiran, another time, but this is just to keep in context the discussions that are in these verses. Okay.
Okay.
But think about them. Think about them. See, you can rationalize and analyze to quite a bit of experience scientifically, rationally, equal. And all right. So does this?
Sorry, Swamiji, this is a little bit confusing now, because pure consciousness. I think Chetan asked that question about Brahman. So Brahman is right at the top, right? That's how I'm looking at it, like a hierarchy. It's right at the top. That's what I'm understanding you to be saying. But then pure consciousness is all pervading. So it doesn't have a hierarchy.
When this high and low we are using here, you're talking in space, nah? That's why, because I'm trying to draw something on a two-dimensional paper. But
yes,
I want you to, when I say higher, I mean the highest frequency.
Yes, got it.
Okay, so use that concept and always refer to that Manmathanath Ganguly thing. It's a good framework. It's very nice. It immediately puts everything in perspective. See? Okay. Other people are there. They are still seeing the trees and plants, but his consciousness or awareness moved to a higher level, and accordingly, his experience of the external world changes. He saw everything was vibrating. Then he felt a vibration in his own head, and then everything became just a notion of consciousness. He's aware of that. And when his mind came down, these names and forms reappeared in his experience. And he also became aware of himself as a person, as an individual. And when he came down here, then the difference between him and Swami Vivekananda is not the same, because there's a greater and lesser manifestation of that power in different people. So this greater and lesser manifestation happens because of differentiation. That's what's the meaning of the word Prakriti. Prakriti means that which is differentiated. Okay, higher and low. And in nature, you'll find the visual spectrum are so many colors. The higher frequency appears as violet and the lower frequency appears as red. It's a whole spectrum of energies. And so this universe is a whole spectrum of energies, manifestations of that consciousness. All right. Now, so use this example here in your meditations. All right. So after this second lot of discussions we are going to have, it should give us a better grounding of where we have come from, how we have become what we are, and how we will return to our original source. We have all come from that pure consciousness. We have embodied ourselves by different layers of body, so to say, grosser and grosser, different layers of the onion, the kosha, the subtle and the gross, or the Anandamaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, and then Annamaya kosha, in terms of the 5 koshas that are there. So one nice way to meditate is this, and I talked about it last time. Visualize yourself that you are far away from this little planet Earth, somewhere out in space, so far away that you can't see anything. Every direction is on no thing out there, no stars, no planets, no galaxies, no solar systems, nothing is there. And you visualize that all that exists is that light of consciousness. That is the yellow one in all directions.
Swamiji, Ronil here. Sorry to distract your trend of thinking there. Just a question. So is life a manifestation? Is it manifestation of consciousness?
Of course. Everything is
It
a
is,
manifestation of that consciousness.
Okay.
Yeah, that's called the vital force, vitality. That's why the doctor is, when you ask him, hey, is he alive or dead? He goes and checks out whether there's any manifestation of any vital signs.
Mm.
He checks your heartbeat, he checks your breathing, he checks your temperature. These are different manifestations of that life force. And when he finds none of them are there, he says, he's dead. Chala gaya.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So here, you try to use this technique of meditation, You visualize that ocean of consciousness in all directions. What is nature? It is eternal. It always was, there's no time actually in space. There's no boundaries. It is full of infinite knowledge, omniscient. It is full of infinite bliss, ananda. It is full of peace, param shanti, all the wonderful things you can think about. It exists in an infinite measure in that pure consciousness, which is the foundation of the whole universe and me. Then what happened? By the will of the divine, not your own sweet will, because that our ego is really a manifestation of that consciousness also now. In that infinite realm appears a little bubble, which is your I sense now. And suddenly you feel yourself divided. What's outside is the universal being, and what's inside is me. And then visualize that in the next level, it becomes even grosser. What appears suddenly a mind in which there are thoughts and ideas and emotions and this and that. Everything is bubbling in there, activity is there. And then it becomes the third level where it materializes as the body. Water vapor, water and ice. And this is the situation. And all around us, so many similar bubbles are there, which are all people, plants, animals, and all those things. Somewhere that consciousness is shining more. There would be the gods and goddesses in the Swarga and other higher planes of existence. Among human beings, that energy is shining a bit more. In animals, that consciousness is manifested little less. In plants and plants, it's even lesser until it materializes almost like a lifeless. Apparently, it is full of consciousness, but its manifestation is less in a stone or material thing. And that is the world that we are living around, all direction. So in meditation, we are trying to say that we are going to raise the energy level so that my mind lifts up to that higher plane, detaches itself from the physical body and the senses, and then you become aware of the mental space and thoughts and ideas, emotions, which are not you. They are a layer that covers you. They are not your thoughts. Thoughts were energies that have come from outside. For a while, it exists in you and then it goes away. If you don't pay attention to it, you don't even know it passed through you also. So, but they exist, they are not really yours. It's only when we identify ourselves with them that we get caught. When you say, this is my body. Or sometimes you say, those few people around me, they are mine also. Husband, wife, children, they are mine. Just like you feel if something happens to them, it pains you also. One body was bad enough, now you have connected to so many other bodies also. And so like that, it happens. Well, somebody who is a nobody is laughing. Anyway, so, and then behind that is this ego. So I have an ego, everyone has got an ego, somebody have big ego, some have a small ego, some egos are identified very much at the gross body level, some are more at the intellectual level, some are at the spiritual level. Anyway, all are bubbles within bubbles within bubbles like that. The whole idea is to, in spiritual life, is to bust this whole thing. And the method would be to raise that energy level. How do you get rid of ice? Heat it. It will melt. How do you get rid of water? Heat it. It will vaporize. How do you get rid of water vapor? Okay, you can heat it also, and that also disappears. So as we raise that energy level, the gross merges into subtle, subtle into kosha. And that is why it's called tapasya. The word tapasya comes from this Hindi word Sanskrit word tapa. Tapa means austerity or something that generates heat. And heat is generated when there's friction or we are going against the normal flow. It means you're going, gravity is pulling you down. You're trying to do exercise to lift against it. And after some time, that you feel that heat, tapasya, is happening. And then the body responds by manifesting the strength that is there. So when the mind is going downwards towards the senses constantly, we want to restrain that. It requires a lot of strength. And that's why it's called tapasya. And that heat, that energy that is now conserved and channelized through sadhana in the upward direction, that's what's ojas, and that becomes a spiritual energy. But you get the general trend of thinking is that we are the architects of our own mind, and we are the architects of our body. In this body we are imprisoned, in this mind we are imprisoned, and we suffer in that because it's constantly changing. You have some good times, but mostly it's the other way. And when the soul understands, and if you think about the glory of that infinite nature that we really are all the time, Chidananda Rupo Shivoham Shivoham. That beautiful stotra, Nirvana Shatakam by Acharya Shankara. What is it? Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chittani Naham. There's some 6 verses, so they are there. And every verse ends with Chidananda Rupo Shivoham Shivoham. Chit means that pure consciousness. Anand is my bliss. That is my divine nature. I am that auspicious being, Shivoham, I am Shiva, I am Shiva. So constantly repeating and reminding ourselves of that higher truth that we are, and saying no to this hypnotized state of thinking that I am the body, I am the mind, I am the individual, I am the personality, these are my views, my opinions, and all this and that. This is the prison in which we have caught ourselves. So when that alertness comes, we try consciously to break this prison house, so to say. So in these verses here, I want to go back to that verses here. In these verses here, Sri Krishna says, I shall speak of that which is to be known, by realizing which one attains immortality. Okay, so the immortality is not the immortality of the body. It is not what Ravana wanted. It's not all these asuras when they did tremendous amount of tapasya, and Lord Brahma or Vishnu came and said, what do you want? Like Hiranyaksha, he says, let me not die. And then he thinks of all the various ways that can kill, and he said, let that not happen. But somewhere there will be some small gap by which they will be killed. So that is the Asuri way, that intelligence is not there. They think they're trying to make the body immortal. And it's not very different from the Sasuras in this modern age and time, that also that Asuri tendency is there. Have another kidney transplant, bypass this and that. We want to live in this body forever, as long as possible type of thing. Anyway, so the Supreme Being is without any beginning. It is called neither being nor no being. So that is the nature of the pure consciousness. All right, this verse talks about that. Then it talks about its all pervasiveness. It's not only in one being, in one embodiment. It is the foundation that in the space in which everything is contained. It is, it's the container, and everything is contained. In Bengali, tumi adheo adhar, tumi brahma nirakar. Adhar means the foundation, the support, the container, the universal space in which the contained are these different individuals, the waves or these bubbles that have appeared. So that noble, which is the Supreme Being, which has hands and feet everywhere, which has eyes, heads, and mouth everywhere, which has ears everywhere, exists in creatures by pervading them all. Here does not mean the hands and feet. It means the power that activates the hands and feet. The power of consciousness that activates the eyes and ears and all the senses. So it talks about what is called the Jnana Indriyas, senses and karma indriyas, the organs of action and organs of knowledge. Okay, and it talks about, it's like it is a electricity that's making all those movements and actions possible. But it is not that you have a different Brahman, Atman, and I have a different one. It is the same one that is manifesting behind all of us, the same ocean behind all the waves, type of thing. All right, so this particular verse talks about it exists in all creatures, pervading them all. If you do harm to others, you do harm to yourself. Helping others, you're helping yourself by establishing that oneness. And so all these sentiments that when we feel, kindness, compassion for others, sacrifice, unselfishness, they are manifestations of somewhere deep inside that oneness that we have, that we are behind everything. That urge is trying to find expression in our behavior, in our feeling and thoughts there. That means it's good. That's why they're called spiritual. They're the do's in our spiritual path. Kindness, compassion, all those type of things, because it strengthens that idea of our oneness with all beings, so to say. So this is pretty easy, I suppose. The next one is
Swamiji.
Yeah.
Swamiji, the word pervading.
Yeah.
How do you explain the word pervading?
Pervading, good question. Okay. You see, when I drew this drawing, okay, so that's the first level. It is there. It is pervading the mind. It is pervading. It's pervading the intelligence. It's pervading the mind. It is pervading the body. How did we? So if you had this ice, water, and water vapor, all right. Let us say the most fundamental part is the H2O molecule. If you were a H2O molecule, okay, and say, when the state is changing from gas to liquid to ice, isn't the water molecule still present in all of them?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, see? But what if you ask the water molecule, my friend, how are you experiencing? He said, no, okay, when I was in the gas state, I was totally free. I could move here, there, everywhere. But when I became water, oh, I lost my freedom. Now I'm confined to a water vessel. I can just move here and there. But when I became a piece of ice, I'm really stuck with these other people. Holding hands, can't move out. I've lost my freedom. What has happened? The energy, energy level has come down. See? Energy level. So from our physics point of view, what happened? They say the temperature came down. All right. It became water and it again became frozen. But if you were asking, having a conversation with the water molecule, he says, we are all water molecules. Only thing is that our energy level has just come down and we have lost our freedom. And from outside, somebody is looking outside. He's saying, oh, now you have become ice, or you have become water, or you have become water vapor. From the water molecule point of view, he says, I was a water molecule before. Now, only thing, my energy level comes down. That's another way of looking at it.
So the freedom is the birthright, as it says in Gita. So freedom is the birthright of the water molecules.
Yeah, it is down there, it's there. That's why we are trying to, but that's why we feel that sense of freedom. But we try to make the mistake of trying to have that freedom of the senses, not freedom from the senses.
That's the confusion, isn't it?
Not for that in ignorance, people say, I want freedom, I want freedom, I have freedom of expression, I can dress, do whatever, shoot anyone, I have to have the gun. And they mean freedom in that way, in a gross physical way. In spiritually, it is freedom from the tyranny and the control, the limitation of the senses. It's freedom from the changes that are happening in the body and the mind and everything. It's freedom from. And when you're free from all these limitations, then I'm ever free. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta. Ever free. ever pure.
It's the imposition. It's the imposition, isn't it? It's the imposition.
Yeah, the
What is-
superimpositions limit it.
Yeah, yeah. Why so complex? So weird. Why so complex? Why does it have to become so complex? Why can't we just simplify?
It is simple.
That's bhavana for sure.
Our mind is getting confused, with complex things.
Yeah. It is like, some people who go in this maze. Okay. So we are outside the maze. You are perfectly free. But what happens? You want to have that thrill. So go enter the maze and now you're trapped and you're going this way and that way and lost and this and that. And suddenly you come out. It's wow. And have that joy of the release. I've got out of it. Why did you get in the first place?
Oh, yeah,
That was a good example.
Yeah, but you had no
curious.
choice. You were born.
No, you're very curious.
That's the leader.
Well, who is creating the whole thing?
Well,
We are.
Up top.
The mind is.
No.
creator.
Where did it start all?
The God, Brahma.
The Brahman, the pure consciousness. Okay.
Yeah.
Having fun.
When that cosmic power starts that process of creation, whether it's a galaxy or individual, that is called the Adhya Shakti, Parashakti. And that is the deity which is called Kali or Durga, Saraswati, Lakshmi, the Divine Mother. She is the one who does Srishti, Sthiti, Vinasha, creation, preservation, and destruction. And when she wants to become many, then all these forms appear. And then she withdraws them all into herself and they all disappear. The ocean becomes so many waves and then it becomes totally waveless. You ask the ocean why you are doing this. He says, this is my sweet will. It doesn't, when I become wave, I don't increase. When I remove all the waves, nothing happens at my level, but I'm playing with myself only.
It's the same pattern, isn't it? Everywhere we see, it's the same pattern being repeated over and over again, externally and internally.
That is how this whole thing is constituted. So our study here is that we are, after studying all these things, suppose somebody did not know any Vedanta, after going through this, he says, oh, I'm not just the body. I got some idea of what I am as a mind, but behind the mind is a buddhi or intelligence. But behind that is a ocean of consciousness. Wow. And then he says, okay, that's so wonderful about me. I'm not a sinner and this and that, doomed to go to hell and this and that. I'm actually a divine being. But this is my situation. But there's a ray of hope also. I have created this prison house and I can also get out of them. So I'm going to do that part of it. So that's very positive in Vedanta. Then he says, but that applies to everyone also. So just like I love to have this enlightened spiritual perspective of myself, I'm going to have that same thing, same way of looking at others and see if I can interact with them in that way. That is what is called practical Vedanta. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. What is apparently the Jiva in front of you is really Shiva. Have that knowledge, Shiva Jnane, then deal with that particular person, and that becomes a seva or worship. And when we deal in that way, that becomes a means of Chitta Shuddhi, purification of mind. That's why in the Ramakrishna mission, this Karma Yoga and all that is very, very important. Remember, this Gita is not about having these classes on Thursday evenings and reading some. It is actually to be taken out in the field of work and practiced. Sri Krishna did not teach this Gita to some Swami or some sadhu in a mountain cave. He taught it to a warrior in the battlefield of life. And so the test of all this, what we're discussing and learning, is you have to go and find out how much of this are you able to apply in everyday life. Even 1-2 ideas you take, that itself is great. Okay.
Kamil, you can apply this in the courtroom.
Yeah, all your clients are coming, and sadhana, all the patients are coming. This is Rogi Narayan. That's how in the Ramakrishna mission, when we see have the hospitals, and the patient is called Rogi Narayan. Narayana, who is come in the form with some illness. The kitchen where the food is cooked for the patients is called Narayan Bhandar. That means it's a kitchen where food is cooked for the Narayana. Everything has to be put into where we are aware of the divine in that person. And that transforms an ordinary work into worship. Okay, so this Brahman is here and now in all of us. It's not hidden, partly manifested, but not fully manifested. What are the manifestations? Sarvendriya gunabhasam, sarvendriya vivarjitam, asaktam sarvabhrischaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktricha. So, shining through the functions of all the organs. You see, eyes are seeing, but they don't see on their own. Otherwise, a dead man can see. Okay, there is some power that flows through that. It is the power that makes the eyes function. I want to be aware of the seer behind the eyes. So in the Upanishads, it's the eye of the eye, it's the ear of the ear. That means it's the power behind these senses which make the senses work, type of thing. So it shines through the functions of the organs, and yet devoid of all the organs. That means if the organs are not there, it doesn't mean the power is not there. Unattached and verily the supporter of all. Without the gunas, and yet the perceiver or the enjoyer of the gunas. Basically, it is trying to talk about that power of consciousness that is operating behind this body-mind complex. This body-mind, all these three layers that you talk about, is like a machine, and there's an operator behind it. So Sri Ramakrishna says, oh mother, I'm a machine, you are the operator. I'm the house, you are the indweller. And Sri Krishna is saying,
Swamiji, the consciousness cannot feel consciousness in itself, right? We can only feel consciousness through the body and mind, isn't it?
why do you have to feel? Consciousness is an awareness. It can be self-aware without any body and mind. Brahmajnana means there's no body awareness, there's mind awareness. That doesn't mean that you're not aware of it. You have to differentiate between these two ideas. One, consciousness, and second, consciousness of something. Western science, when they talk about consciousness, they mix it up that consciousness of something like the brain activity. I'm aware of this world around me. If there's no awareness, then there's no consciousness in me. See, that's how they think. But in Vedanta, pure consciousness is not consciousness of, it is self-consciousness. It's difficult to explain in words because it's beyond the words. But it should not be mixed up with consciousness of something, because then you need something out there to be known. Okay, like the sun is shining in all directions. Now to see its light, it requires one moon to reflect it. Suppose there's no moon, that doesn't mean the sun is not shining. Can you see? Huh?
Yes, I understand. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that just the feeling that, how can I explain? The first person experience of a feeling.
Feeling and all these things, forget about all that. You are the light of consciousness. You're not aware of that yourself as a consciousness. You need a reflector to reflect that light to you. And then you think, oh, I'm shining. Okay. Get rid of all these reflections, just being aware that I'm the light that shines in all directions all the time. Whether there are many 20 mirrors or 100 mirrors or no mirrors, I still shine. So self-knowledge, Brahma Jnana is something like that. It is not like I have got now 20 mirrors, now let me make 50 mirrors and 100 mirrors, 1000 mirrors, and now my consciousness is becoming more and more and more. No.
Yeah, self-realization, huh?
Yeah, I'm just aware that I'm the light without the support of any reflector. That's why it's called self-realization. At other times, it is the realization or experience of the reflected light from something. And that light could be if something is being reflected by the body or something outside there. Things you do.
That's why we like.
So the subject realizes the subject without the help of object.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's called objectless experience.
So difficult to sort of comprehend because the eyes can't realize the eyes.
That's
Can
why
I
you
say
can't
something,
see.
Swamiji?
That's why you can't see.
Can I say something?
Definitely you can say.
Okay. When we are born, we become I am. We start
Hold
our
on,
life.
hold on.
I am.
Hold on. Who is this speaking?
Jasu.
Jasu. So you have to be very, very correct now. When you are born, then you become I am. Means before you are born, you are not the I am.
That is what I am saying is how we progress ourselves. Like just now a question was put about the consciousness, how conscious we are, how aware we are. So when the body comes into existence and we have started our faculties and we are conscious, the minute we say I am. We are born, we say I am.
I am the body.
Stands with us. Yeah, it stands with us till the body falls.
Yeah, means
So
I am the body idea there. It comes and goes when you're sleeping and waking up, but more or less most of the time, I am the body, and that is my identity. Okay, because the mind is at that level. All right.
That I am stands with us till the body falls. And then the I goes. Then once the body is fallen, like the body was I. We were saying I am. In other words, we were saying I am. Like I say, I am Jasu. So when my body falls,
M follows.
M falls.
M
Yeah.
falls. M
the
falls.
M falls. Everything, all that thing disappears. But the M part of it, thou art that, or I am that stays. So is it the ego goes, the I sense goes away, and it goes into the general consciousness.
Here, look at this drawing. Okay, here, look at this drawing. At that highest level, there is no I. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm saying.
The ego is not there. In samadhi, this ego, that identity disappears. All right. So it's like a rubber band. Okay, perfectly, no stress, no tension, is perfect like a circle. All right. Then I pull it a little bit. The top part encase remains, and I stretch it out down. It comes to this level. So it says I, okay, am this. Okay. I am this individual. Then you pull it down a little further, the ego becomes more tension in the spring or rubber band, and now it's trying to hold, and it says, I am the mind. And then you pull it a little bit more, a lot more tension is in there, and it says, I am the body.
So the I actually remains, isn't it? But I associate with my mind when the body is dropped.
Yeah. So
because
I
the
is
mind
there. It's a
goes
different
and
I.
the conditioning stays.
Yeah. This is say I1. So I2, I3. Okay. Means it where it is identified with. See. That's why that I persists all the time.
Yeah, one eye drops. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I
So
meant.
when the body goes, the I doesn't say. It means its identification or this connection with that body dropped. All right.
So like we discussed in the notes, I mean small I and big I. So big I remains the same.
Yeah, big I means it is like it's a universal I. That means it's identified. Yeah. It is not. This is like small I. Okay, I am the mind. I am the body. I am this, and then that's not bad. That is actually part of the problem. Then it goes out here, and catch us with mind. Okay, my house, my family, my children, my husband, my wife, my people, my nation, my country. And this I plus mind is Maya.
Is what we are at the moment.
It's
Maya.
Maya. Sri Ramakrishna says,
Right.
Ami Amar E Maya.
Yeah, that's
Swamiji, in Turiya state, does the I remain? Or
No.
even in the sleep state, does the I remain?
In
no.
sleep, the I remains is there.
Turiya state it doesn't.
In this here, in the sleep, you are the dreamer.
No, but when I'm in deep sleep.
Yeah, it's there, but its manifestation is very less. When you come out, you say, oh, I slept well. You see? It's there in a very, very almost non-manifest form. But it comes back. You come back to the body. You don't wake in somebody else's body. No?
Yeah. Okay. So in Turiya, the I just vanishes off. So that's the small dot.
That is a samadhi. In Turiya, this is here, Turiya, fourth. This is the Jagrat. This is Swapna. This is Sushupti. Waking, dream, deep sleep. 1, 2, 3. Relative to 1, 2, 3, this is 4. Turiya means fourth. So the important thing is, what do we take today? This I consciousness or the awareness can slide up and down. All right? And each has got a sort of a base level. So for some people, it's mostly at the physical level, some at the intellectual level. But the thing is, this I can go up and down. And in japa and meditations, we make a conscious effort to raise that I to the higher direction. And that is the purpose of all that sadhana, focusing on the divine, some manifestation of the divine at this level, directing that mental energy in that direction, resonating with that with the help of the mantra, is an effort to raise this mind and ultimately hit this highest level. And then we realize who we are, that we were never born, that we never died. We are the eternal immortal being. The bodies were born, the bodies died. That really, I'm a nobody. Right, Camille?
Yes.
I think that's the problem, Swamiji. I think the problem is terminology and the way we talk about the body. So, for example, earlier when you were explaining, you said the body return, you return, but you're not returning anywhere. You're there.
Yeah. So the perspective from which we have been talking in our everyday life, somebody was born, celebrating the birthday, 60th, 80th birthday, or that died, that is mostly from an ignorant point of view. Try to look downwards. So that's why I say, use this technique of meditation. When you sit there, visualize this is a whole pure consciousness. In that, this bubble of ego appears, and then it becomes the mind with all thoughts and ideas, emotions and everything. Then it becomes materialized as this body, male, female, brown, black, white, whatever. And okay, these are just things that have been heaped one top of the other. I'm going to make a conscious effort to withdraw myself. Okay, the mind that came down here has to now go back. And that is the actual retreat. The rubber band that was pulled out, you have to let go. And when it is totally back in its position, no stress, absolute peace. It has got a tension whenever it's suddenly pulled down, it's trying to hold on to that. I'm trying to make this body survive. I'm trying to maintain my individuality. That's where the stress comes. Enough to meditate on.
I have a confusion now.
That's good. I have so many confusions also. Can we put that confusion? We've gone 1 hour, 20 minutes today. Okay, we'll take up from here. Think about it deeply from that spiritual perspective. How we have come from that consciousness, or I has come, and this awareness has come. And in here, that consciousness has become so little, so that's why we're not able to understand everything properly. So don't expect that you will understand everything here, because this is a limited state anyway. The best way to understand is let this consciousness rise up, and you'll find that there's more light and things reveal themselves more.
Because what we have just been talking about, the logical conclusion to that is when the body drops, does that mean that the conscious, well, what does it mean? Does it mean that the consciousness, we are completely manifesting the consciousness because the body's dropped? Or does it mean it's through the body that we are manifesting consciousness?
Baba, you got 3 bodies. Now you didn't rip all the 3 bodies. If you drop the 3 bodies, then you will be pure consciousness.
So, okay. So the dropping this body, the gross body, the manifestation still happens through the other 2 bodies.
Yeah, you are in that ghost body, Pret Sharira.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And then, according to all the samskaras that are there, it wants to come back and say, I want to have another experience. Let me take another body. Whom shall we trouble? And then you get born in that family. And somebody says, oh, here's my lovely son, grandson, granddaughter. They're mine.
Do you have to fight?
This and that.
Do you have to fight? Do you have to fight over the body?
Fight over the body? I don't know.
Hope not.
I do not know.
Why are you asking this, Bill?
Don't worry. Next time you are born or you're dying, just keep a watch. You'll sort it out for yourself. Let us stop here today.
The first person experience is really important.
Yes. Anyway, I hope this gave you some food for thought today.
Yes,
all right. Let us offer this to Shri Ramakrishna. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tassat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Very good.
Thank you, Swami.